This lecture is from chapter 14, and it is on a really good subject. It's on happiness and positive psychology. A quote for this week, or this lecture, is, "Do not set aside your happiness. Do not wait to be happy in the future. The best time to be happy is always now." So, of course, first let's define happiness, which is kind of a vague word and hard to define, but we'll do our best. We are using the word happiness in the same way people understand it in normal life. Happiness simply is feeling good overall, when you experience more joy than suffering. Typically, happiness is an emotional state characterized by feelings of joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment. While happiness has many different definitions, it is often described as involving positive emotions and life satisfaction. Happiness is that feeling that comes over you when you know life is good and you can't help but smile. And as I just mentioned, there are many different definitions of happiness. It's kind of a vague term, but I think we generally know what it means. And the textbook discusses 3 elements of happiness. So this is a further definition. The pleasant life, the attainment of day-to-day pleasures that add fun, joy, and excitement to our lives. For example, a good book and a cup of coffee. I know for me that makes me very happy. So that's just a day-to-day pleasure. The good life is achieved through identifying our unique skills and abilities and engaging these talents to enrich our lives. Those who achieve the good life often find themselves absorbed in their work or their recreational pursuits. And then the third definition that the textbook provides is the meaningful life, which involves a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from using our talents in the service of the greater good in ways that benefit the lives of others or that make the world a better place. So an example of that would be volunteering at a local soup kitchen or homeless shelter, but just making the world, as it mentions, a better place. So now we know what happiness is, how it can be defined. How happy are we? The U.S. has fallen from 11th to 24th place in global happiness rankings from 2012 to 2025, which unfortunately is one of the steepest declines among wealthy democracies. Loneliness has reached epidemic levels. The U.S. is among the top 5 loneliest countries studied, with 21% of Americans reporting feeling lonely always or almost always. Polarization is fueling this unhappiness, with 62% of Americans saying the country is too divided to function, and fewer than half trusting their neighbors. National division is compounding isolation, weakening communities, and pushing life satisfaction downward. Social media, which we can't ignore at this point, is also eroding well-being. Excessive screen time is linked to higher loneliness, anxiety, and depression, particularly among young Americans. So, obviously, at this point, we're a little less happy than we used to be, and there's several reasons mentioned. Of course, this is just a couple surveys, and so, we don't really know for sure, but these are some ideas that have surfaced lately that apparently in the U.S., the level of our happiness has fallen. The question that is often asked, can money buy happiness? Income within societies appears to correlate with happiness only up to a point. Well-being rises with annual income, but only up to $75,000. The average increase in reported well-being for people with incomes greater than $75,000 was null. In other words, there was no increase. As implausible as these findings might seem, after all, higher incomes would enable people to indulge in Hawaiian vacations, prime seats at sporting events, expensive automobiles, and expansive new homes. Higher incomes may actually impair people's ability to savor and enjoy the small pleasures of life, which we discussed those small daily pleasures earlier. So it looks like money essentially, in quotes, can buy happiness up to a certain extent, but after that extent, it really doesn't improve happiness, it doesn't appear. So, how do we increase happiness? Practice gratitude, be thankful, laugh and find the humor in things, smile more, visualize success, use self-compassion, and anticipate, savor, and remember good times. Of course, there are many other ways to increase happiness, but I think those are some really good reminders of ways to increase it. So let's define positive psychology. Positive psychology can be thought of as the science of happiness. It is an area of study that seeks to identify and promote those qualities that lead to greater fulfillment in our lives. This field looks at people's strengths and what helps individuals to lead happy, contented lives, and it moves away from focusing on people's pathology, faults, and problems. Some of the topics studied by positive psychologists include altruism and empathy, creativity, forgiveness and compassion, the importance of positive emotions, enhancement of immune system functioning, savoring the fleeting moments of life, and strengthening virtues as a way to increase authentic happiness. Positive psychology often involves the study of positive affect or positive mood and optimism. Again, positive affect refers to one's propensity to experience positive emotions and interact with others and with life's challenges in a positive way. Having a positive affect is associated with greater social connectedness, emotional and practical support, adaptive coping efforts, and lower depression. It is also associated with longevity and favorable physiological or physical functioning. Defining optimism, it is the general tendency to look on the bright side of things and is also a significant predictor of positive health outcomes. So as just mentioned with optimism and in the previous slide, there have been proven a relationship between happiness and positiveness with positive health outcomes. Definitely our mood and our happiness affects our health, our physical health. So that's important to remember also. Now, this was a short presentation, but thank you for listening, and let me know, as always, if you have any questions. A final thought I'll leave you with is you deserve to be happy. You deserve to live a life you're excited about, and don't let others make you forget that.